Good afternoon. Well, I'm back from Maryland, and it's a little chilly today. I think 70 would be an ideal temperature, but we're not at that temperature. Some of you probably took note of Earth Day and how poorly our governments are doing when they're not bullshitting us about what they are doing to make our planet safer, to be concerned about environmental problems. Biden, who I thought would be better about these things, opened up all this land for drilling and so forth. So that's not encouraging. It was 68 or 69. I was at Columbia, and I remember like it was yesterday that we were with guys and gals. The girls were from Barnard, and we were from Columbia. And we were talking about different things. And there was this one woman who was very carefully listening to one of my friends describe the challenges to the planet and the environment and greenhouse gases. And she immediately understood what this meant. And she despaired that when informed, nobody was doing anything about it. It's 1968 or 69. And here we are today. And I wish I had her name or number. I would love to call her up and ask her over the years how she looked at that revelation then. But it was clear she was illuminated with this tragedy and couldn't believe nobody was doing anything about it. And on Earth Day, in front of the Supreme Court, a man who's 50 years of age, Wynand Brace, who studied Buddhism. I don't know if he is a Buddhist or was a Buddhist. He set himself afire, a conflagration, to draw attention to the fact that we weren't doing anything about the environment. And very few of us get to this level of frustration or demonstration about something that we care about. And he had other challenges. But it reminded me of how another Buddhist during the Vietnam War burned himself in Vietnam in protest of that war. And what was amazing in his protest was that he remained in position, the lotus position, the entire time that he was burning. And what was remarkable about Mr. Brace was that he never let out a scream. Now, this is an example, I think, of the center not holding, the poetic reference to where we are. We have the contradictions of any government, and they're extreme and are not analyzed and are not explained sufficiently. And frankly, to use the war with Russia to explain why we'd open up all our land for drilling is, well, seemingly political, but not in favor of the environment. Now, let's talk about the war for a moment. I've been encouraged by Biden in this context because it seems to me more and more he's come to grips with the fact that we cannot make a deal with Putin. We can't trust him. He's saber rattling with his nuclear saber, and he is making noises like an adventurist, like he would take over other nation states in the area. And so when Defense Secretary Austin presided over a meeting of 40 nation states to fight this war, he'd gone far past FDR's Lend-Lease, in my opinion, to a point of acts of war. We were only one removed from the fighters, the Ukrainians. And it's hard to believe that we don't have people on the ground ourselves. And I would support that, particularly given how terrible this war is. And I don't really see a way out of this war that could be satisfactory short of Ukraine winning. And I think that's what we're doing. And Austin described it as the speed of war. And even Germany, that had only given helmets earlier to the cause, is now giving military equipment. And I think that that's an improvement on things. Those of us who followed the very sad ballet in the Senate, I think, wonder why anyone would be visiting back with Manchin on the big Build Back Better agenda. This midterm election is really about democracy. And if we're not fighting and arguing for that, everything else is trivial, frankly, because none of it will get done. Because if the autocracy takes over in the midterms with the Republicans, we're partway to perhaps the dissolution of democracy as we understand it in the presidential election of 2024. And then finally, kind of a happy note, there is word that the White House is supporting, a $10,000 forgiveness on student loans or something like that. And somebody asked me what I thought of that, and I said, well, I support it generally, but I'd be even more enthusiastic if it applied retroactively to my own loan. So those are a couple of things that I noticed today. We seem to bounce from one crisis to another, and not always in an understandable way. And of course, we're still not concerned about the traitors to America. We tell the stories like they're gossip, rather than that they are crimes. We tell these stories like, isn't that amusing, when it's among the most terrible things that could happen. And then finally, a personal note about Holly. Holly is working hard at getting into shape, getting her strength up so she can walk. And we're studying all the different medicines and protocols she'll follow when she's released. We don't really have a clear idea, will it be a week, 2 weeks, will it be longer than that? Because the progress is always subject to possible setbacks. Holly's my hero. She's a champ. She fights like mad. And this is a hell of a course. And more people should understand the kinds of miracles that are happening in some places, including places like Johns Hopkins. So that's all I got to say today. I'll be out doing walking talks when I can. And it's good to be with you folk. And thanks for all your messages and kindliness and prayers and good hopes for Holly. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.